Welcome back to Under Par Acres. We've been hitting a lot of golf balls out here lately, and Wilson's game is rapidly improving. However, our short game area is not looking too solid this time of year due to the heat, and we're just letting it go until we restart in the fall. Speaking of heat, this is the time of year that it gets unbearably hot, and we've therefore wanted to put a swimming pool in ever since we moved in. We have the perfect amount of space in the backyard to do so, and so we decided at the end of last summer that we were going to add one at the beginning of the new year. In the middle of January, the team we hired got started and they cleared out a lot of trees before digging, which turned out to be a great decision. It was exciting to see them break ground, and the only thing that could go wrong here would be if they hit rock. So we just had to sit back and watch and hope for the best. All was going well with the dig for most of the day, but as they started digging out the deep end, our big fear came true as they hit a giant rock underground. So at this stage, they were going to have to come back out the next day with a jackhammer and start working to clear this out. The next morning we had a better view of the rock and it looked to be big. This was the only part of the build that cost extra, and we were on the clock to get it out fast, as there was an upfront cost for day one of digging and then an hourly charge for anything after. After a hard day's work, the team made a lot of progress, but there was still some work left to be done the next day. But some of the big rocks looked really nice, and we ended up using them as part of landscaping around the house. The next morning, the team was back out to work, and this was the only stressful part of the whole build as we were on the clock. But these guys worked really hard, and we were lucky that they got it cleared out within a few hours. We were quite relieved to get this part of the job done, and were fortunate it was not too much of an extra expense. But more importantly, this cleared way for the exciting part, where the team came out and started building the frame of the pool. The day after the frame was put in, they came back out and secured it all in place with concrete, and also got started putting some of the initial plumbing in. And the following day, they came out and did some final cleanup work inside the pool, and they also started doing the grading around the pool using all the dirt they initially dug up. At this point, it was starting to get exciting, and while it still did not look like much, it was beginning to come together, and we were able to get the feel of what it will eventually look like. Next up, a new team came out and installed the vermiculite bottom, which is similar to concrete but a bit softer, and this really started to give it a much cleaner look. Once finished, they covered it up to let it dry for 24 hours, and then the electrician team came out and started getting everything wired and ready to go. After the vermiculite had fully dried, they were back out to do some final cleanup work, and then it was time to have the liner installed. This was probably one of the most exciting parts of the build, as it made it start to look like a real pool. Once the liner was installed, they put a hose in the pool to start filling it halfway up, and they had a vacuum behind the liner to get it fully sucked into place. It took about 16 hours of hose water to get filled halfway up, and then they came back out and removed the vacuum and let it fill almost all the way to the top. And once that water was filled to the top, we had 3 children who were eager to give it a test swim. But keep in mind, this was back in February, so the water was icy cold, and as fast as they got in, I don't think I've ever seen kids get out of a pool as fast as these clowns did.
I'm freezing!
Soon after, the team came back out to get the filters and the lights set up, and then we had about 2 months off before concrete installation. The next phase of the build came after about an 8 to 10 week period where they let the ground settle, and they came back out to start building the concrete patio around the pool. Once the concrete was done, we had a completed pool on our hands and it looked great. However, it was still early April and too cold to use. And while cold water didn't stop the kids from getting in it, I still had a lot of landscaping work to complete, as we needed to bring in more dirt for final grading and build a fence. But it was really nice to have a finished pool at this point, and we had a nice big pool party on the last day of school to kick off summer break. About a month later, it was finally dry enough to have another team come out and help me get the final grading done. We had 2 full loads of fill soil and 1 load of topsoil delivered, and that was enough to get the job done. With the final grading complete, I was able to get to work laying sod off the concrete, and I needed to get this finished prior to having the fence installed. I had never laid sod before, but I will tell you that this is a very satisfying job for an OCD golfer. I got as much as I could get done the first evening of work, but was fortunate to see Wilson jump in the second day and finish off the work before we had a perfectly timed rain come in that evening. After we got the sod put in and the ground had dried enough, we had the final leg of the build take place as the fence was installed around the pool. We were now completely finished with the build and were extremely happy with the final product. I'll come out this fall and start working to build a garden bed outside the fence and then sow the dirt to get better grass growing outside the pool, but we couldn't have been more happy with the work that was done by the pool company, in-ground pool design, as well as all the other contractors we used. And I'll leave their names and contact info in the description section under this video. But with summertime here and in full gear, we've been spending every minute of spare time we have off the golf course putting this pool to full use. Building this pool has been one of the best decisions we have made, and the kids are having the time of their life in it. It also gives old dad the chance to show off his Olympic-like diving skills. Or maybe I should just stick to daydreaming about the next project mommy will never allow, like putting in a zip line off the balcony, or even better, building a 200-foot water slide into the pool. Thanks everyone for watching, and we will see you soon.